This is the Digital Key, Season 2, Chapter 8. In this episode, we will be talking about the flow rate of consciousness from vessel to vessel and solubility of a social network. In past episodes, we have discussed how consciousness flows from vessel to vessel through the milieu of the Earth hierarchically, or tautologically. Under tautology, through reverse substitution, the trendsetter enters the vessel of the second and acts out the impulse for the second, who enters the vessel of the third, who acts out the impulse for the third, and so on and so forth. Under hierarchy, the lower in priority acts out the impulse for the higher according to the objective of the higher. Tautological flow is personal and relates to bare impulses, whereas hierarchical flow is objective-oriented and relates to the lower in priority acting according to the expectations of the higher. Distinct digital streams have distinct flow rates. This is so because distinct streams provide affirmation of impulses at distinct rates. This may be determined by the frequency of negating content, where the other acts as the not set of the impulse. It may also manifest through compulsion or intrusive impulses within the dialectical degeneration. There are ultimately two dimensions of the flow rate. Two levers, so to speak, which control the ultimate flow rate experienced by an individual consciousness. Reverse substitution, which entails the frequency of affirmation, and nonlinear intersections within substitution events, which determines the frequency of negational responses. Distinct relationships set distinct limits on the hierarchical flow rate by determining the rate of expectation matching. Since hierarchically, the rate of expectation matching determines the rate at which an incoming consciousness acts towards the objective of the higher in priority. This means that the people that you are connected to through expectation matching act as bounds on the flow rate of consciousness from vessel to vessel for a particular vessel. This means that it is not just about who you are connected to by relationships, but also about who they are connected to, in determining the flow rate and the digital stream you experience. This quality of social networks determines the solubility of a given consciousness, dependent upon the particular arrangement of others who you maintain connections with directly or by extension. The higher the flow rate of a given consciousness, the more frequently they experience reverse substitution events, which determines the regularity of the affirmational rhythms. Since awareness is linked to the regularity of the affirmational rhythms, your ability to perceive nonlinear interactions is determined by the flow rate. Likewise, the regularity of the negational rhythms is determined by nonlinear interactions, which reflect intrusive impulses, or negational content, or compulsion within substitution events. Thus, the overall flow rate determines the rate of these intersections and perception of them through the frequency of reverse substitution events. Since we see that distinct digital streams reflect distinct flow rates, it is clear that the social network, which surrounds a given consciousness, determines the particular experiences of a consciousness via the solubility of that social network. Social networks where expectations are met frequently, or where negational content is less frequent, reflect a higher rate of flow of that consciousness from its vessel. That's the end of the podcast for today.